Good morning, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order at 10:33 a.m. And I do believe I saw Amy. Yes, I do. Okay, Amy, can you go ahead and do roll call?
Of course. So, President Naomi.
Present.
VP Ramses. Absent. K President Mark.
Present.
Director of Finance Zach.
Present.
Director of Legislative Affairs Jacob. Director of Public Relations Nick.
Here.
Director of Communications Amy. Present. Senator David.
Here.
Senator Soule. Senator Rachel.
Present.
Senator Reed.
Present.
Senator Stacy.
Present.
Senator Mary Kay.
Present.
Senator Hamza.
Present.
Senator Beheshta. Senator Sasha.
Present.
Senator Afsoon. And Senator Oscar. So 11 of the 17 are present. So the
Okay, so
quorum has been met.
yeah, quorum has been met. Awesome. Okay, moving on to adoption of the agenda. Okay, I'm going to try to share screen this time again. Let's see, start broadcast. Okay. Okay, and you should be able to see my screen right now. Okay, and if I can just get someone to just say they see it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Awesome. Okay. I'm going to scroll down here to just so you guys can see everything. And if there are no objections, we are going to adopt this agenda. And yeah, we're not gonna do the roll call this time. I think we're just gonna, just it's from Brett's research. So we're just gonna adopt the agenda, and then moving on to approval of the minutes. So the minutes were sent by a Discord. I hope you guys have seen them. We have the minutes from our last week's Friday meeting, and then we have the minutes from our Tuesday's special meeting. So if you guys could look those over for a sec. Okay, if there are no objections, our 19th February minutes will be approved. Okay, hearing and seeing no objections, those minutes are approved. Moving on to our next minutes, the February 23rd minutes. If there are no objections, the February 23rd special Senate meeting minutes will be adopted. Okay, hearing and seeing no objections, or approved, sorry. Hearing and seeing no objections, those minutes are approved. Moving on to chair's message. Good morning, everyone. I only have a few things today. One, we're going to be having a general, a joint budget committee meeting later today at 1:30. So it will be Mark, myself, and Zach. And we are going to need 2 Senate representatives for that. So if there's anybody who has the time at 1:30, just please put it in the chat. We need 2 Senate representatives there. So if you can be there, we would love to see you there. General Assembly, I think it's March 26th to 28th. I have it on my calendar. We're going to need a delegate for that. And there are some folks that have expressed interest, but I just want to, give the chance for anybody else who's interested also to, throw your name in the hat. I sent out a Google survey Tuesday night to all of your emails. And if you haven't gotten to fill it out yet, just please fill it out. It's what we're doing instead. Something we decided at our special meeting, that we were going to do this Google survey instead, to see where everybody is on all of these resolutions, and then that forms how our delegate is going to vote there. And I actually have the link. I'm gonna send the link in the chat for that. Okay, so yeah, if you haven't gotten the chance, please fill it out. And I think that's it. Okay, moving on to advisor's message. Brett, take it away.
Alrighty. Aloha, happy Friday. It's been a very trying week. I don't know how it's been going for you all, but this has been one of the harder weeks of the pandemic for me personally. So shout out to everyone this week who's participated in lobby day and special meetings. I've met with a couple of you in one-on-one. It's been a lot. So I just want to thank you for continuing to show up as I juggle a lot of responsibilities. So it makes my life a little bit easier, but I just want to appreciate it. So thanks, David. So a couple things real quick. Elections are coming up real soon. So for those of you that ran last year, if you remember, and I think I talked about this last week, we started with the paper process, right? We have to fill out a paper and get 50 signatures, and then we all went home. We all went remote right in the middle of it. So we switched to a Google form, and that's what we're going to do again. So for those of you that are returning next year that are interested in running again, that Google form will be live starting Monday at 8 a.m. I'll email everyone the link, probably Sunday night, but that form will be live. If I could ask, please share that Google form with as many people as possible. I'll put kind of like a description of positions and kind of like a general overview of what ASB does with it. But, you know, preach it, send it out to the world, put it in your Canvas classes, chats, whatever, Zoom chats, whatever you can do. In the past, we try to do classroom presentations. Obviously, that's a little bit different now, but, you know, just spread the word. And be honest, share with them your experience being on this board or with CAEB, you know, and what it's like and what it can be like. So next board, we'll have I think a big opportunity to kind of shape what the campus is going to look like when we come back. So and this board has too, trust me, but I think next year's board, as we get into those discussions of, okay, this is what the student center is going to look like. This is what cafeteria, what food options are we going to have? I think Senate next year and CAEB will have an opportunity to kind of share students' concerns on those. So a couple other things. The event that you all sponsored for the comedy event through Emoja and Unite as part of Black History Month, that actually is tonight at 7 o'clock. They're asking folks to register for it. So I'm going to put the link here in the chat when I'm done. But they actually got some pretty famous comedians. Lance Woods, I don't know if anyone's familiar with him. He's a local comedian. He partners with the Kings. That's how I know him. And he always comments on like, yay, the Kings are winning, and he makes it funny, or the Kings have lost their 9th game in a row, we're terrible, and he like makes jokes about it. So yeah, it should be pretty cool. You just have to register first so they know how many people are coming. So I'll put that register link in the chat here when we're done. I know Mark is going to talk about it later, but our kind of virtual club day, welcome day, we're still working on a name, is going to be on March 18th. Tentatively 1 to 4, that might change. But it's really just think of it as like the club days we used to have in the quad, right? With the DJ and Kevin breakdancing as Bucky the Beaver. It's just virtual. So you would show up and you could say, oh, what's this club doing? Or financial aid's here, I need to talk to them, right? So we're trying to work all that out, technology willing. Mark and I met yesterday, as he mentioned earlier. So save that date, please. And we might have like an ASB booth where you can just come in and like meet with students and stuff. So we'll get you the time here shortly. And then the last thing, scholarships. There are still, I believe, 10 or 12 scholarships with up to $1,000 in some of them that no one has applied to yet. So I'm going to email that list out to the board here while we're working. But you know, if you haven't applied for a scholarship yet and you qualify, please do so. The deadline is March 5th, which is next Friday. So with that, I have 1 week and 2 days to go until I can get a haircut. So I'm counting down the days, and that's all I got. So I'll hand it back to Naomi. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Brett. With that, we'll move on to public comment. This time is reserved for members of the public to address the Student Senate on issues not already appearing on the agenda. A limit of 2 minutes per speaker shall be observed with a maximum of 4 minutes per topic. No discussion is allotted on public comment. The law does not permit any action to be taken or extended discussion of any items not on the agenda. The ASB Student Senate may briefly respond to statements made. For questions posed, however, for further information, please contact the ASB Student Senate President for the item of discussion to be placed on a future agenda. With that, are there any public comments? Okay, hearing and seeing none, we'll move on to appointments and swearing in, of which we have none. So we'll move on to unfinished business, of which we have none. And with that, we'll move on to our first item under new business, which is our financial aid presentation. And I don't see Mario here, so let's switch 10.2 and 10.1 today. So 10.2, student trustee presentation. I see Toni, so we're good there.
Hi, everyone. My name is Toni. I'm the student trustee for the Los Rios Community College District. Yeah, I'm just here to kind of visit and answer any questions you may have and see how everyone's doing. Yeah, so I guess we can start off with general questions, and then I can talk a little bit about what we're doing, some projects we're working on the district SAC level.
Okay, yeah. Are there any questions for Toni today?
Yes.
David, go ahead.
What are some goals that have been accomplished so far?
Yeah, so one big thing that we were working on this year, I think this was probably the primary project too, was establishing the district-wide work groups. So that was something we really advocated for at the beginning of the year, and we established them. I believe the vote was at the October SAC meeting, if I remember correctly. Basically, it's work groups that anyone can join. It's something that's never been done before within the district. And the students can just come together and collaborate. So I've been collecting feedback from students from across the district to see how do they think it's going? Are there ways we can improve? And I think that's actually going to be one of my questions later. Yeah, just seeing how we can make that more long-term. I'm actually going to be putting it on the next SAC agenda to see if we can extend those work groups. I think that's one of the biggest projects that SAC has taken on. We also released the Black Lives Matter support statement, and we also had the first district-wide summer training summit towards the beginning of the year. So those are some exciting things. And hopefully these efforts can continue in the future. But yeah.
Toni, I know you mentioned it already at the CAEB meeting earlier this week, but I'm wondering if you could go over your 2 resolutions again that are in the General Assembly resolution packet for SSCCC.
Yes, for those of you who don't know, General Assembly, it's a conference that where student representatives from across the state, they come together and they vote on resolutions and all other type of statewide student senate matters. So one thing they have is students from across the state, any CCC student can submit a resolution to say, to ask the SSCCC to make this a priority for the upcoming terms. So my first resolution was the low-income housing resolution. So one thing I actually last year I had a resolution that passed called the Expansion for Basic Needs Resolution, and that's really helped to prioritize the SCCC efforts on basic needs this year. For those of you who have been involved, you've seen a lot in the legislative sector of the SCCC. They've been focused a lot on basic needs. But one thing that when it comes to basic needs, one of the major problems that we see with why students can't afford basic needs is that housing is very, very expensive, especially in California. I think that's the biggest struggle because it's the most expensive. So we see some solutions like temporary housing vouchers and that sort of thing, which is great, but it doesn't really provide long-term solutions for students. So I wanted to write a resolution that would help address that, which is advocating for the SSCCC to advocate for a bill so that funding can be allotted for the building or purchasing of low-income housing to provide to students statewide. So that is on the resolution agenda. So if you're attending General Assembly, it'll come up. I believe they're doing a different process this year where they have the consent. They're throwing a bunch of resolutions on a consent agenda to speed up the voting process. Resolutions can be removed. So if you want to go and speak up for that resolution, if it gets removed, then that's something you can do. But yeah, so that's my first resolution. The second resolution is the disabled awareness resolution. I wrote this one in collaboration with another student from Region 4. Basically what this resolution does is we seek to increase DSPS awareness. Some things include a town hall and that sort of thing. We also are looking to asking the SSCCC to advocate to change some of the language and the requirements for student government, because some of the requirements has allowed some districts, not our district, but some districts to raise the requirements. So, you have the 2.0 GPA and the 5 units. That's the bare minimum that districts must require their students to have to join student government. But some districts can raise that. So I've heard some districts that have raised it to like a 3.5 GPA, which sounds insane. But so it's made it inequitable for some of these DSPS students and other students as well to join, because the language doesn't, it allows them to do things that make it more inequitable. So we're asking them to change that to make it more equitable. So that's my second resolution. But yeah.
Thank you, Toni. Any other questions for our student trustee today? So I have one, but I want to give other people the option first.
I do too, but I already asked the first time, so let me know if I can go.
David, go ahead.
Okay, Toni, because we do have a basic needs committee with Jacob Couch, do you guys collaborate with us, or are you guys completely different from us?
So when we established the work group, so it's kind of yes and no. So SAC is the one that established the work groups. Yes. So we appoint we are the reason why the work groups exist. So we do indirectly oversee them. However, when we established them, we also wanted them to be kind of independent, so that it would really be student driven and not so yes and no. But yeah, does that answer your question?
Yes. Is there anything that we can do in basic needs committee to support you guys?
Well, if you ever have anything, any projects you take on that you would like SAC to, you need support from SAC, or you would like to bring to district level, so it's not just your work group, but you can always, I believe the request has to go through your student senate president. So you have to talk to them first, and then they will come to me, and then I will add it to the agenda, and then we will talk about it. Like there's this complicated process, and then yeah, but if you do want to do that, I recommend doing it soon, because we are running out of SAC meetings in the year. So sooner is better. If yeah, if you want to get any projects on the agenda.
I was just curious if we would be able to collaborate with you guys, but okay, thank you.
Of course.
Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna ask my question just briefly. Well, it's not really a brief question, but so with the elections coming up, I was hoping you might just give some information of what it's like to be the student trustee for students that might be interested in running for that position.
Yeah, so yeah, I'll just go over a brief summary. And yeah, so student trustee, basically some of the responsibilities involved, you're the representative of over 70,000 students when you attend board of trustees meetings. So that's kind of it. So it's a really important position because you are the sole student on that board. So that's very important. Some other responsibilities are you serve as the chair of the student advisory committee. So that's a monthly committee meeting that meets right before the board of trustees meetings. This year we've been meeting at 3:30, and then the board of trustees meeting is at 5:30. So basically you create the agenda, you send the agenda out to all your members, and then you chair the meeting and you talk about various issues related to students. Yeah, so it's some of the things when it comes to running for student trustee, it's similar to how you would run for an ASB position. You get your signatures, you send it out. You do have to do a little bit more campaigning because you are campaigning to 4 colleges and not just one. So that's something that's a little different. So it's really important to attend all the forums and that sort of thing. Online, I can speak a little bit to this since elections are online. Last year elections were online, so I can talk a little bit about it. A lot of outreach it can be hard. So sometimes you can outreach through social media. You can email professors and ask if they would be willing to share your flyer and that sort of thing. So campaigning is a little bit more, it's a little different, but you also don't have to travel as much because, well, go from your computer. But yeah, those are some things, man. I'm trying to think. If you do end up running for the student trustee position, it's also a paid position. I highly recommend it. It's really interesting. You get to meet a lot of people. You get to organize lobby day, help to organize lobby day. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of if there's anything else I should mention.
I can help a little bit because I have a follow-up question
Thank
with
you.
that. Like if you could say anything about the student trustee's role on the board of trustees and what it feels like to be in those meetings as the student trustee.
Yeah, okay. Well, to be honest, sometimes it's a little odd because a lot of the trustees, they've known each other for many years. So they've been like collaborating. And so you come on there and you're kind of like this newcomer. And so it's an interesting role, like because they all know each other very well. And so sometimes as student trustee, you come on and like there's often like a lot covered in the agenda. If you get the agendas for board, look at the board of trustees agendas, like they are 80 pages and they send it out the Friday before, and it's important for you to review it because you want to know what you're voting on. So just making sure that whenever it comes out, you're going through it, everything, asking any questions ahead of time. You also meet with your advisors. So you have 2 advisors. You have the student advisory committee advisor, which is the one, it's the advisor that rotates each college. So this year I have SCC. I think next year, who is it? I think it's going to be
CRC
CRC
next year.
next. Yeah,
It
CRC next year.
was supposed to go in alphabetical order, but Sac City was, I can't remember, but I stepped in
Ye-
last year because
Yeah, you were with Iz, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Someone had just started their job as an advisor and we didn't think it was right to throw them in and be like, you're now the advisor of the student trustee. So I stepped in.
Yeah, so it'll be CRC next year. So you have the advisor, and then you also have the district advisor, and you just meet, you go over the agenda, also are in charge of submitting monthly bot reports. So one thing we've done this year, I guess this kind of connects to some other things, is we recently got a student advisory committee page on the Los Rios website. Before, you just had a student trustee page, and I wanted something for the committee. So something we really advocate for was to get an actual page. So now you can see the agendas, you can see the reports and everything. But yeah, so now they're all uploaded on the website, but before they are uploaded, you have to go over them with your advisor, make sure they all look good. All the presidents, they form their college reports, and so you basically take what they wrote and then you compile it and summarize it and put it into the bot report for the district level, and then that gets sent to the board of trustees. But yeah, I forgot what your original question was. Was that?
Yeah, I think that fit it. I was asking about the student trustees' role on the board of trustees and kind of how it felt like to be that sole student on that board. And I think you answered the question. I think you had a good answer, especially like coming as an outsider into that like tightly knit group. Yeah, that's definitely, that sounds yeah, that's something. Are there any other questions for Toni right now? Maybe
I have one.
Oh, well, oh yeah, okay, Toni.
I have a question for the group. So if you've been involved in a district-wide work group, I guess I'm looking for feedback on what we can do to improve for the future, because we are looking to extend them at this next meeting. We're also going to be talking about the structure a little bit, if there's anything we can change or do to engage more. But yeah, are any feedback from anyone who's been involved?
I can echo what I said last time, was that having a set amount of meetings that we meet would be helpful, just to add a little bit more structure into that, since this is a kind of, well, not kind of, it's a new thing, and it's definitely a little bit confusing, the purpose, especially just figuring out what each committee really is supposed to do. So it makes meetings a little bit harder to plan. So having that set amount of meetings that you should have, and then having some kind of mission plan, I think would be good, because I know for me in the Black Lives Matter task force, we definitely had some questions about what our purpose was and what we really could be doing.
Thank you.
Chair.
Yeah, right, go ahead.
Much like I gave a shout out to all of you, shout out to student trustee Toni. I know when you signed up for this last year, you thought you'd get to be in that board of trustees room, right? The big conference room, and you've adapted on the fly, much like your fellow student leaders. So I just wanted to give you a shout out for all the work you've done. And I know we'll see each other at SAC meetings, but in a formal setting, just wanted to wish you all the best in your future plans, endeavors, and whatnot. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely been interesting. Wasn't what I expected, but you know, I'm kind of thankful that when it went online that I was appointed, because I don't know, it's been a really critical time for student leadership. So just being able to like serve during this time, and I think it's been great, especially since I had prior experience before coming to a position doing student government online. I used to be a board member on the Region 2 board prior to for the last term, and so we did a lot of online meetings, so I was familiar with Zoom, and so I was able to kind of come in and figure out how we were going to do things, because there are a lot of questions. How are we going to do this online? Because I had that online experience, I think it helped to make SAC transition a little smoother. So I think that was I'm thankful that I came into this position during this time.
Okay, it looks like we don't have any other questions here, but thank you so much, Toni, for joining us here today. was really a pleasure to hear from you.
Of course, thank you. And if anyone wants to reach out in the future, I'll put my email in the chat. Also, if you have any, if you ever want to invite me to future meetings, if you have questions or something you want to go over, you can always invite me, and I'd be happy to join.
Awesome. Okay. Brett and Mark, I know you both reached out to Mario. Were either of you successful in reaching him? Okay.
No, I reached out to him and I didn't get a response back yet.
Ooh, okay, so I think we might just have to push this item of the agenda to next week. Okay, moving on to committee reports. Is there any chair from a committee that's active? No, Jacob's not here. Okay. Nick, do you have anything to add for the, what is it, Public Relations Committee at this time? Oh, no, wait. Okay. No, Nick had to step out for a sec. Okay. Okay. Any other committee reports? Okay. Seeing and hearing none, we're going to move on to board member reports and announcements. Anyone here want to give a board member report or announcement?
Chair.
Sasha, go ahead.
So my Pride Center paperwork finally got approved. So now we're finally next week starting. We're back online. So you should see Pride programming talking about that soon.
Awesome. Okay.
Chair?
Well, I can, yeah, Mark, go ahead.
No, if you were gonna say something, go ahead.
Oh, not really.
All right. No, just as we mentioned earlier, and Brett mentioned it, March 18th is gonna be the first official Booth Central event, but we're gonna try to, like Brett was saying, and we were thinking about it, possibly a week before that, we're gonna do like a Spirit Week, and then launch into the town hallish type of meeting with President Dixon and several other departments. It was brought to my attention that Melanie, that she mentioned it to all the deans and supervisors and departments. So it's going to be a pretty nice, interesting event. So if you guys can put that on your calendar, March 18th, tentatively 1 p.m. to about 4. But I'll have more of an update next Friday for sure.
March 18th, I remember from last year, was when we were supposed to have our jazz ensemble concert, and it went online right before then. Okay, thank you, Mark, for the update. Okay, any other board member reports or announcements? MU1 is meeting. We're excited. All right, we have our deadline coming up for policy statements. So we're checking through. Any other board member reports or announcements? Okay, hearing and seeing none, we are going to move on to public comment. This time is reserved for members of the public to address the Student Senate on issues not already appearing on the agenda. A limit of 2 minutes per speaker shall be observed with a maximum of 4 minutes per topic. No discussion is allotted on public comment. The law does not permit any action to be taken nor extended discussion of any items not on the agenda. The ASB Student Senate may briefly respond to statements made for questions posed. However, for further information, please contact the ASB Student Senate President for the item of discussion to be placed on a future agenda. Are there any public comments? Okay, I see Brett's hand raised, so go ahead, Brett.
Yeah, I forgot to mention the chair's message. So real quick, General Assembly is March 26th through 28th.
Yep.
If anyone wants to attend, there is a registration fee. And as you know, that requires paperwork, which requires the business office, which requires budgets. So we need a bill. So just wanted to put that out there for anyone that, hint, hint, wants to get it on the agenda for next week. So that
I know a few people who do.
Yeah, so we can take it from there and make sure that SSCCC gets paid and all that fun stuff. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Brett. Okay, any other public comments? Okay. Hearing and seeing none, we will move on to adjournment. This meeting will be adjourned at 11:08 a.m. It's still a.m. If there are no objections. Hearing and seeing no objections, this meeting is adjourned. And pause so I can end recording.